Welcome back to the channel, guys. In the last video with the Micro Monster truck, we teased a little something that would be coming soon, and today's the day we put it together. This is a newer release from Furitek. This is their Rampart monster truck. It's a 1/24 scale chassis. Today I'm gonna kind of dig into it and go through it and give you some specs on it, as well as build it out, throw some electronics in it, and hopefully get a little bit of running footage with it. And we'll do some preliminary comparisons between my truck and it. So let's get started. So first of all, as we see, this truck is aluminum. The entire chassis is aluminum compared to my 3D printed truck. The majority of the pieces on my truck are 3D printed, so this is a big difference here. I don't think it's any lighter or heavier than my chassis is assembled, but definitely strength-wise, you're not gonna be snapping any aluminum parts compared to plastic parts. And just the nice anodized look. They sent me over one in the red, but I believe there's also a green and a black, or maybe that's blue. We'll see the chassis plates aren't too different. We're running twin vertical plates here. They have a whole lot more mounting options for shocks than I had. Still using aluminum cross braces. The width is a little wider than my chassis was. Other than that, the main difference you'll see is 8 shocks. We have 2 shocks on each corner. They're just plastic body shocks, no oil in them. There's actually a limiting pin on them. Could be something I change out in the future, but I'm gonna start off running like this. These look to be Element Enduro axles, the 1/24 scale Enduro. We have steel drive shafts here, which is really nice considering we know what issues I went through with my truck. Running the same transmission that I put in my truck from Furitek. And this is the Godzilla motor, which is also the same exact motor that I have in my truck. So power system wise, we should be the same. The main difference will be these axles. If this is the Enduro axle like I believe it is, this uses a ring and pinion style similar to the Devastator axles that I ran, while these SCX24 axles that I recently put on my version of the 1/24 scale monster truck uses a worm gear. You can see we also have an aluminum steering linkage set up in the front with servo mount. Really nice stuff. We'll have to figure out what kind of servo I want to mount up there. We might just use what I have on hand for now, but probably gonna need something a little stronger in the future. Other than that, it seems to be a pretty solid truck. I picked up another Lizard ESC. This is the Lizard Pro with the Bluetooth controller, just like I have in my 3D printed version. And we'll be running on the same exact batteries. I have a couple sets of these, so power-wise, these should be exactly the same. The main difference will be the chassis and the axles. Speaking of exactly the same, I wanted to try out a different option with tires. I wanted to try out those AMT monster truck tires. I was gonna design a new wheel for those and pick up some of those, but I'm sure most of you have seen, if you're interested in these micro trucks, that those are now discontinued as they are sold separately. I'm pretty sure you could still get them in the full kit, but if you want to buy them just by themselves, you can't get them anymore. So that's out the picture. I do have something else in mind that I'm working on that I want to pursue in the future. I think it'll be really great and I'm really excited about it, but it's gonna take me a little while to work through all the little details of it and get the ball rolling there. So for now, this truck's gonna be running a set of tires just like my truck already is. I picked up another Spin Masters truck and ripped the wheels and tires off of it. Took the tires off and 3D printed another set of wheels. So we'll be running the same wheels and tires and all of that. Should give us a really good comparison of the two trucks. So I think that's it. I think that's enough talking. The only other point, I guess, I'm gonna use that FlySky FSGT3B, I think it is, or a C. I have a bunch of receivers for it, so I'm gonna throw that in there as well. And yeah, I'm gonna build through this truck right quick, throw electronics in, put the wheels and tires on it, and we should be able to start running. Wow. There's so many good things I could say about this thing. I don't even know where to start. I guess first of all, the most obvious thing to me as soon as I started putting power to this thing was those enduro axles. Being that it's a ring and pinion, I was back to where I was with my Devastator axles, where it felt really smooth. There was no kind of dying. It didn't feel like I was limiting the truck at all. It was just wide open throttle. I almost turned it down a little, honestly. It felt really good as soon as I put those wheels on the ground. Steering wise, it is a little limited compared to my truck because my truck has 4-wheel steering, but with these tires, there's not as much grip as say a true rubber tire, so it's pretty easy to just give it a little throttle and spin it around quickly. I mean, you even saw when I took the ramp out, we had backflips off of just a little kicker ramp. I don't even need the backflip ramp with this thing. It might need to be turned down. These shocks, I mean, at this scale, this works pretty well. I may try throwing some shocks like I have on my truck on it sooner or later. For now, this is working all right. I'm gonna leave them on for now. I really don't have many complaints. I know a lot of people are complaining about the price point of these. And as a disclaimer, I do have to say that Furitek did send this to me. I didn't buy it, but they aren't paying me to review this thing. And this is my honest opinion that it's a really solid truck. I know there's a couple of 3D printed chassis out there on the market on Etsy and eBay and stuff like that that you could buy already 3D printed chassis. And props to those guys because I know a lot of you have asked me to put my kit for sale, and I don't know where people find the time to 3D print batches of kits like that to sell to people. It's beyond me, so props to those guys. But so unless you want to go with one of those kits or buy a 3D printer to 3D print one yourself, I'm pretty sure this is your best option, really. I've seen a few carbon fiber kits, I believe, but I don't think those come with axles, actually. Pretty sure you have to provide all that yourself. Paired with this Godzilla motor and the Rocketman transmission from Furitek, this thing's almost bulletproof, basically unstoppable. I ran into two problems, one of which was my own. One of them is a pretty easy fix. I threw a servo that I had in the truck, and well, the output gear on that servo is metal, but the rest are plastic, and we broke that pretty quickly. I have more servos just to get some testing footage with, and I'll probably pick up some more servos like I have in my Micro Monster truck. The only other issue I had was on these knuckles on the Enduro axles. You can see it's just a clamping knuckle. There's a screw, Phillips head screw at the bottom, and even with those all the way tightened after bashing around a bit, the front wheel kind of popped off and I was like, what the world happened? Come to find out, that knuckle just completely slipped off. No big deal to put it back together. I could actually see a couple little spots. It looks like they had tried to glue it from the factory. I'm not sure if that's Element that does that or Furitek, but I may super glue it back myself just so I don't have that issue anymore. It happened to me twice, no big deal. Besides that, this was a really quick and easy build. Really fun truck to drive, I have to say. The wheelbase is just a bit shorter than my truck. I'm sure that's pretty easy to see. It's a little shorter as well, not much at all. And weight wise, I would say they're very comparable. I don't feel like either truck weighs more than the other. Obviously, my truck with the SCX24 axles now is a bit slower, even with the same exact power system. This Rampart truck, though, really has me considering these Enduro axles, which I did think about from the get-go, but wanted to try to get a complete SCX24 build. But now I have the best of both worlds. Now I can race, freestyle, do a little competition between them. I don't think racing will be fair with one truck being faster than the other, but it's still really fun to play around with both trucks. I'm hoping to see more manufacturers put stuff out in the Micro Monster Truck game, similar to what Furitek did here, or maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, for a fully ready to run truck soon. I know that would be awesome. It looks like the interest is there, so let's keep hoping that a manufacturer out there hears us all screaming and gives us something to have some fun with. So I'll have a link to this truck, motor and transmission, ESC, all of that stuff down in the description below. Make sure to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thank you to all of the new subscribers for all of the support I'm getting on these videos lately. And as always, thanks again for watching. Peace.